an Arab, there are a few key reasons why the Quran could not have come from an Arab other than Muhammad. Firstly, the Arabs of Muhammad's time achieved unrivaled linguistic and literary mastery, yet they failed to challenge the Quran, and the leading experts of the time testified to the inimitable features of the Quran. One of the best linguists of the time, Walid ibn al-Mughira, exclaimed, "And what can I say? For I swear by God, there is none amongst you who knows poetry as well as I do, nor can any compete with me in composition or rhetoric, not even in the poetry of jinns, and yet I swear by God, Muhammad's speech, meaning the Quran, does not bear any similarity to anything I know. I swear by God, the speech that he says is very sweet, and is adorned with beauty and charm. If the Quran could be imitated, any poet or linguist could have come out and produced something better, or at least similar to it. The expert in Islamic studies, Navid Kermani, makes this point clear. Obviously, the Prophet succeeded in this conflict with the poets. Otherwise, Islam would not have spread like wildfire. What about today's Arab? Firstly, the Arabs in the 7th century were better placed to challenge the Quran because of their mastery of the language, and since they failed to do so, it would be unreasonable to assert that a modern Arab could surpass the abilities of their predecessors. This is because modern Arabic has lost the purity of classical Arabic due to the borrowing of foreign words. So how can an Arab who is a product of a linguistically degenerated culture be equal to an Arab who was immersed in an environment of linguistic purity? Secondly, even if a modern Arab learns classical Arabic, their linguistic abilities could not match someone who was born and raised in a culture that mastered the language. A non-Arab. The Quran could not have come from a non-Arab, as the language of the Quran is Arabic. The knowledge of the Arabic language is a requirement to successfully challenge the Quran. What if a non-Arab learns the language? This would make that person an Arabic speaker, and we have already seen that an Arab could not have authored the Quran. Also, there are differences between native and non-native speakers of languages, as various academic studies have concluded. For example, differences exist between English speakers with just one non-native parent and those with two native parents. The speakers with one non-native parent would exhibit poorer linguistic performance in certain tasks than those with native parents. Research conducted by Professors Kenneth Heiltenstam and Nicholas Abrahamson concluded that there are subtle differences even between competent non-native speakers and native speakers. In conclusion, to assert that the Quran, a book that defines the peak of eloquence in the Arabic language, could be a product of a non-Arab or non-native speaker is absurd. The Quran gives the answer. As we have seen, Prophet Muhammad was not a trained poet, nor did he have any inclination towards poetry. To say that he was a genius who didn't need any poetic training or any revisions, additions, or improvements for the Quran of any kind is unheard of, especially considering it has not been matched to this day in terms of its eloquence and unique literary form. In addition to this are the numerous other points that we've covered in this chapter, such as his outstanding honesty, his personal speech differing from the Quran, and the like. It seems clear that the Quran couldn't have come from Prophet Muhammad, or any other human being for that matter. The best explanation as to who authored the Quran lies within the Quran itself. This scripture is sent down from God the Mighty, the Wise. It is we who send down the scripture to you, Prophet, with the truth.